Hello and welcome to Prime Time Football, Sunday Night Football edition. Today between Chiefs and the Lions. So this should be a banger, right? Well, I do think so. And my storyline is hole in middle. Because I really believe that this game could be won and lost by the play from the running game. And with that being said, I do trust the Lions to actually be able to pull this through. Why? Well, let's focus on that. So the Chiefs and their rush defense, it's not been great so far. And when you look at the Lions, they are definitely able to run you into the ground. And in reverse, Chiefs are not necessarily great in terms of running game because their leading rusher is, well, Patrick Mahomes. So neither of them running backs is capable of actually giving them like down and down consistency in terms of, let's say, shortening up second and third downs. Unlike Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who so far has 14 games in which they both scored touchdown, which is historical. So let's focus on some matchups, shall we? We start with Chris Jones versus Tate Ratledge. So Chris Jones, it's been largely medialized what happened in that last Jaguars offensive play. And I've seen it over and over, and I'm like, I kind of understand why he stopped playing because, like, when you see quarterback on the ground, you kind of expect that he was brought down, and there was some penetration by the Chiefs. So, like, I kind of get it, but still, it's like, I mean, it's last minute of the game. Just played through it, and like even after it like was really clear that the play was not over, he just did not put it back. So yeah, that's definitely disappointing. And like a lot of people will talk about that play, but to me, Chris Jones has been a disappointment kind of the whole season. I mean, in terms of pass rush, you definitely feel his presence, but it's not like it's not to an elite degree for sure. And in terms of run defense, he is damn right struggling. And that's definitely where my storyline comes from because there's definitely a hole in the middle of this defense. I mean, look at Oman Norman next to him, who has been brought as a pass rusher in this draft. So, like, you already think that, yeah, he's probably going to struggle with run, and he's struggling heavily. On top of that, he doesn't really offer that much in terms of pass rush so far. So that's a problem. Also, with Derek and Nadi usually struggling, you are starting to create kind of big hole in the middle. And like in previous season, you would be okay, but we still have really great linebackers. We've paid them; they are kind of the spine of our team. That's true, and I love all of these guys, but so far, no. It's kind of like okay linebacker group based on names, one of the best. Based on the performance, it's kind of middle, and that's something you cannot afford when you go against Sonic and Knuckles. Now, the good thing for the Chiefs is entire offensive line for the Lions is a work in progress. With Frank Ragnar retiring, Kevin Zeitler moving away prior to the season, they needed to establish it newly. Tate Lettich, Christian Mahogany, and Graham Glasgow moving from guard to center. So far, it's been good, like definitely better than I expected because my expectations were not necessarily super high, and they've been able to figure this out. Let me remind you guys some things because in terms of offensive line, the communication is key. Like knowing when your guy is going to slide, how do you pick up stance? It's really difficult, and that's why you see like usually pretty much start of the season or when the offensive lines are falling apart because of injuries, you see hugely struggle with communication. But so far that has not been the case. And for Tate Ratledge to have, I would say, good season for a guard, not just the rookie guard, but really for a guard so far, that's huge. That's absolutely huge for the Lions. Truth to be told, they haven't necessarily faced elite defenses, after week one when they were faced the Packers. So we will see in this matchup whether he can sustain it against guys like Chris Jones. Now, for the second matchup, I kind of went for the best on the best or one of the best because to me, Amon-Ra St. Brown is top 5 wide receiver in the league. He is the best slot wide receiver in the league, and he's just the ultimate weapon for Lions, and he's embodiment of what Lions are all about. Because to have wide receivers that just loves to block, that doesn't give a shit if he is not targeted, because like he's all about freaking winning. He's all about being physical. He enjoys that. He loves that. And yeah, that allows him to be like so good. Like imagine him on the same team with like Puka Nakua and Cam Skatebu. Like oh my god, those guys would be just freaking amazing. Now he is going to face Trent McDuffie or not? We will have to wait and see because so far this season, Trent has not been playing in slot as much as he was in previous years. He was playing much more as the outside corner. It's probably because they have been using a lot of base personnel in which like they are not necessarily slot defenders and like linebackers are fulfilling the role. And I'm not sure if they can afford to do this because do I necessarily trust either of those linebackers to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown? I don't, especially with like Nick Bolton looking straight slow out there. And other corners that the Chiefs have, I don't trust as well. So I think if Amon-Ra is in slot, you'd need to put Trent on him. But that's a problem because that's kind of forcing you out of your base defense and kind of emphasize the problem with Lions being able to run at you. So we will see how the Steve Spagnuolo is going to figure this one out. Obviously, if Amon-Ra is going to be lining up outside, Trent is going to cover him. I don't think that's necessarily like something that we need to discuss because hell yeah, you want your best guy on their best guy. So let's just freaking enjoy this one because Trent, he is still one of the best corners in the game. Now, in terms of Lions passing offense, we have not necessarily seen so much from Jameson Williams, whom they paid, I would say, heavily prior to the season, and not justifiably. So like 25 million a year is reasonable contract, but 5 games, he has 11 catches. And yes, he helps this offense because he absolutely stretches the field. He has legit speed. So like you need to cover him. But 11 catches, especially for offense that like Jared Goff is completing, I don't know, 75 of his passes. Yeah, that's just much less than you would like to. So if Chiefs are going to sell out against the run and are going to play one high safety, let's expect some shots to Jameson Williams. Now, let's talk about Chiefs offense. And to me, when we talk about Chiefs offense, we are talking about Patrick Mahomes. It has not necessarily been the case for the last couple of seasons in which, like, yeah, obviously Patrick was playing amazing, but it felt like he had much more help than he has this year. His offensive line was better than it's this year, though it's not bad because it's like a lot of people, which like I struggle heavily when they are like, oh, but Chiefs did not have like these guys. They needed to trade it Joe Tooney and like look at what Mahomes has in terms of protection. Like man, they still have the best center in the game, or like at least top 3. They still have the highest paid guard, who should be like top 10 guard, and they have decent tackles. And their other guard like is not like a train wreck. So it's like, yeah, it's an average offensive line, but it's not bad offensive line. So like, don't make it as like a hyper excuse, at least in my eyes. But I don't think Patrick is making that excuse. I think it's much more of a media people. But in terms of this year, I just really feel like Patrick is their offense. Like they have pretty much no run game besides him, and like for a lot of weeks they really didn't have too many weapons. Now, obviously, Marquise Brown is there. They have Xavier Worthy back. Rashee Rice is going to come from suspension after this week, so they are getting their guys back. Pass offense has been really humming last couple of weeks, so that's definitely like where we can see this Chiefs offense be like, okay, so we cannot run the ball, but show us then you can stop our pass offense because with the Lions, they have several injuries in terms of their corners. For example, Darian Arnold and DJ Reed, so that could be a huge problem. Now, why do I have Jack Campbell here? Well, there's 2 reasons. Well, first is Jack Campbell is having a really special season. He has definitely that breakout potential for emerging as top 10, top 5 linebacker in the league. He's been really fired on all 3 phases, whether it's pass rush, run defense, or even coverage, which was kind of question. Can he necessarily do that? He absolutely does. And for this game, I really wonder how much they will use him as a blitzer or as a spy on Patrick, because I think Patrick legs are definitely one of the underrated keys for the Chiefs to win this one. But Jack is definitely a good enough athlete to combine this with like his like game intelligence to be a very effective spy on Patrick Mahomes. So I think we could see these guys like not necessarily matching like one-on-one, but it's like shadow matchup. I know when like Jake is like, watching where Patrick is going, trying to not open lanes, or like when guys are going to open them, like he's going to be waiting and it's like, Patrick, come in, let's go. So we will see. At the end of the day, I do trust that the Lions will pull this one through, but it should be an absolute banger. First matchup, the Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes played. They've both scored 10 times Giants combined, and I think Rams back in those days won like 54-51, something close to that. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for our Sunday night to end up with this banger.